It's 6:21 on the 8th of August, 2025. In the Taiwan Strait, the USS William P. Lawrence, a U.S. Navy destroyer, suddenly tracks multiple unknown contacts racing in from different angles. Combat alarms erupt. Sailors sprint through narrow passageways, strapping into consoles, hands hovering over weapon keys. Outside, 4 Chinese J-16 fighters roar in low, splitting apart into a pincer maneuver that boxes the ship from the air. At sea level, the radar feeds sharpened CNS. Hefei, a Chinese Type O-52D destroyer, slides closer, its 64 launch cells armed. The Lawrence is bracketed enemy fighters above, a warship across the waves. Inside the CIC, firing solutions glow green. A single word could unleash missiles, yet the order never comes. On deck, the Phalanx gun spins, ready but silent. Spray crashes against steel as a J-16 slices past at mast height. Every second hangs heavy. One wrong move and the whole region could burn. The Taiwan Strait is more than a stretch of water. It is one of the busiest shipping lanes on Earth, carrying the goods that keep grocery shelves stocked and factories running across the globe. Every container ship that passes through connects directly to daily life back home. That is why the USS William P. Lawrence is here to guard freedom of navigation against a growing Chinese challenge. For Beijing, pushing U.S. warships back from this corridor is about proving power. 4 J-16 fighters slicing across the waves, combined with a modern destroyer like Hefei, are not random drills. They are a message. The People's Liberation Army can bracket and pressure an American Aegis destroyer in its own backyard. For Washington, restraint is also a message. The U.S. will not be the one to fire first, but it will not yield the lane either. If Lawrence falters, the consequences ripple outward. Insurance rates for global shipping spike overnight. Asian allies wonder if the U.S. still has their back. American credibility built over decades of keeping sea lanes open faces doubt. If Beijing can corner a destroyer without firing, what will they attempt next time? The sailors aboard Lawrence feel that weight. Every radar track, every call over the radio is tied to a larger picture. Keeping the flow of trade safe, avoiding a war no one wants, and proving that America can endure the pressure. Moments like this are about choices. Fire too soon, and you risk starting the very conflict both sides claim they don't want. Hold too long, and the enemy gains confidence. It is a razor's edge, and both nations know the world is watching. And since you're watching too, what do you think? Should the US fire first if cornered, or hold fire no matter what? Type 1 for strike first, 9 for hold steady. 6:35. The Combat Information Center hums with steady beeps. The Lawrence's radar plots 4 J-16 seconds, splitting into a pincer. 2 sweep wide to force the ship to split attention. 2 drop low, skimming the waves. Their PL-15 seconds threaten from range. A hard dive could close the gap fast. It is a coordinated trap. The bridge calls visual contact on the Chinese destroyer Hefei. A gray shape grows in the haze. Its large phased array panels stare back. Beneath the deck, rows of vertical launch cells wait enough missiles to turn this sea into a kill box. Solutions green, an officer says. Aegis computes clean firing lines. SM-2 seconds for the jets. ESSMs if they rush in tight. The Phalanx gun spins up, barrels ready, safed. One word from the captain could light the sky. He keeps it short. Weapons hold. The J-16 seconds press in. One rips past at mast height, close enough for sailors to spot the pilot's visor. Another flips inverted and throws flares, then peels away fast, loud, deliberate. Out on the water, Hefei angles broadside, showing the long, flat run of its launcher hatches. Every second is a choice. If the Lawrence fires first, the war could start here. If it doesn't, the other side gains nerve and leverage. The crew grips the consoles, breathing slow, eyes tracking symbols that mean jets, ships, and risk. 6:52. The threat receiver squeals hard radar lock from a J-16. A red icon pulses on the screen. Firing options update and stack. Again, the captain holds the line. Stay disciplined. We don't fire unless they do. Engines thrum as the ship makes a small course change, keeping sensors on both the low pair of fighters and the destroyer across the waves. The sky is full of jet noise. The sea carries the heavy note of turbines. Between them sits one American destroyer, steady, centered, unblinking. The pattern repeats, minute after minute. Low passes, sharp turns. Radio calls, clipped and calm. In the CIC, green boxes mark targets that could be engaged, then time out, then reappear. On deck, sailors feel spray and vibration and the weight of restraint. By 7:52, no one has fired. 90 minutes of nerves and measured moves end the way they began, on a razor's edge. The Lawrence remains intact, her crew unshaken. But the message is clear. One slip, one misread gesture, and this strait could ignite in seconds. 7:5. The tension doesn't ease. It tightens. The J-16 seconds continue their runs, each one closer than the last. Their WMD-7 targeting pods hang beneath the fuselage, scanning the Lawrence with precision. Inside the ship, every alarm tells the crew they are seconds from combat. The Hefei closes in. Its silhouette grows in the haze. The ship turns broadside, showing its launcher hatches. 64 cells, any of which could hold YJ-18 anti-ship missiles. A single salvo would force the Americans into survival mode. The Lawrence shifts course by a few degrees, not retreating, not charging, but narrowing the angles, forcing the enemy to commit. For sailors on deck, it feels like threading a needle under a spotlight. The crew works fast. Surface radar tracks the destroyer. Air radar tracks the fighters. Electronic warfare suites hum, ready to jam if missiles come. Weapons crews stand by, fingers near triggers that could unleash interceptors in seconds. Then another escalation. 2 J-16 seconds drop even lower, barely 100 feet above the water. Their jet wash sprays mist across the bow. The sound rattles bulkheads. Below decks, sailors clench fists and steady breath. Every instinct says fight. Discipline says wait. SPY-1D paints tracks. SLQ-32 runs quiet checks, just rehearsal. No hard emit yet. The CIC rehearses chaff and decoy timings. In short, whispered calls. Pressure builds in waves. The longer the Chinese hold, the greater the risk of a mistake. One wrong reading, one nervous twitch, and the fight begins. Both commanders know it. Both play for nerve. The CIC feels it most. Aegis updates firing solutions with every pass. Green lights flash, fade, return. A silent countdown daring the captain to act. Still, his order holds, no fire. The standoff nears an hour. Each minute adds weight. A low pass rattles rails. A wake thumps against the hull. Sailors whisper what they don't say aloud. Will the Chinese actually fire or just test? It's a contest of endurance. Who blinks first? And that's where I want to hear from you. If you were in command, would you hold fire like the US captain or strike first to break the pressure? Type 1 for strike, 9 for restraint. And subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. 7:25. The rhythm of flybys breaks. 2 J-16 seconds climb and vanish in clutter. At the same time, Hefei swings its bow straight at the Lawrence. Sensors spike. Something changes. The fighters reappear with company. Low, fast sea skimmers. Small drones hugging the chop in tight lines. They throw tiny radar returns and vanish in spray. Anyone could be a sensor, a decoy, or a charge. The problem is simple. Hard to see, harder to kill. CIC voices go clipped and fast. SPY-1D tries to hold firm tracks near the surface. Aegis scrubs clutter, teasing metal from water. The captain reads the move at once. A saturation probe forced the ship to show its playbook without a shot fired. Orders ripple. ESSMs queue for immediate windows. Topside gunners swing to low sectors. SLQ-32 stands by to cut control links if the drones talk to a parent jet or ship. Countermeasures are armed but held. Timing is everything. On the bridge, the ship eases a few degrees, tightening arcs and keeping both the drone lane and Hefei inside the defensive basket. Below decks, sailors run the short checklist again. ID assign, engage, confirm. Each second taken now may save seconds under fire. For the first time, the captain calls the last line. Mount 21 to auto. The phalanx spools up, barrels a blur, sensors locked on the closest track crossing a hard line. Nobody wants to hear that gun speak. Everyone is glad it's ready. This is the pivot both sides prepared for. Pressure becomes precision test. Bridge calls mark bearing and speed. CIC echoes. Track steady low. Aegis paints, drops, reacquires pulse by pulse. The drones keep coming, threading the troughs. The crew watches the range numbers march down. 740. The horizon erupts. The drones break from formation and rush the Lawrence in waves. Some skim barely 10 feet above the surface. Others weave higher to confuse the radar. At the same moment, the Hefe powers forward, bow cutting through the water, its combat systems lit like a torch. Engage! 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 The order finally comes. ESSMs streak from the vertical launch system, white trails carving the sky. They smash into the first wave. Bursts of fire scattering across the sea. But more tracks remain. 742. The phalanx wakes. Its barrels scream. Spitting streams of 20 millimeters fire. Tracers rip the air, shredding a drone into sparks. Another follows, shattered in a plume of spray. The noise is deafening. The gun, a wall of sound. One drone slips closer. The CIC barks adjustments, gunner swing mounts, and the CIWS shifts with a metallic shriek. The next burst catches it at the last second. Metal fragments slam into the waves, harmless now. But they keep coming. Each second feels doubled. Crew members sweat over consoles, eyes locked on green boxes that vanish only when a target dies. On deck, sailors brace against shock waves of intercepts, the ship shuddering under its own thunder. 745. A gap. One drone slips through the missile screen. It dives, low and fast, closing in. The CIC counts down distance 3 miles, 2, 1. The phalanx fires again, tracers stitching the sea. At the last instant, a burst detonates it short of the hull. The ship rocks under the shockwave, spray blasting across the bow. Silence doesn't return at once. Alarms still shriek, smoke drifts, barrels glow red. Slowly, the radar clears. One by one, the hostile tracks drop away. What's left is open water, a line of white scars where drones died, and 2 warships staring each other down across the strait. The crew breathes again. They held. Every weapon system proved its worth, yet the message from Beijing is clear. Pressure can escalate to the edge of fire in seconds. And now I want to hear from you. If you were in this fight, would you keep firing until the skies are clear, or stop the moment the threat breaks? Type 1 to fire through, 9 to hold once safe. And hit subscribe. You don't want to miss what happens after this standoff. 752. The clash fades. The J-16 seconds turn for home, afterburners glowing in the morning haze. The Hefe lingers, silent and broadside, then slowly wheels back toward the Chinese coast. The horizon clears. Between them lies a corridor of churned water marked by smoke, fragments, and silence. On the Lawrence, sailors exhale at last. Helmets come off, sweat drips, but discipline remains. 90 minutes of nerve have ended without a shot exchanged between nations. For the crew, it was the closest thing to war they've ever faced, and yet the mission stands complete. The ship remains on station, the sea lane stays open. The meaning stretches far beyond this destroyer. For the US, it proves that restraint under direct threat is possible, that Aegis and crew can withstand intense psychological pressure. But it also highlights a problem. Cheap, expendable drones and aggressive flybys force expensive, finite responses. The cost curve bends against the defender. For China, the test delivered answers. They demonstrated that they could corner an American ship, stress its systems, and study its reactions without firing a shot. The message to allies in the region is equally sharp. Beijing can press hard, and Washington must spend heavily to hold the line. Back on board, the routine continues. Damage control teams sweep the decks. Gunners check barrels still hot from firing. The CIC downloads every radar track and comms log for analysis ashore. Every detail matters, because the next time may not stop short. And that's the lesson. The line between peace and war is razor thin. A single pilot's misjudged pass, one missile gone hot by accident, could transform the strait into a battlefield in seconds. Both sides know it. Both sides are preparing for it. So here's the question for you. Is holding fire a show of strength? Or does it only give the other side courage to push harder next time? Type 1 if you believe restraint keeps the peace. Type 9 if you think striking first avoids bigger wars. And subscribe, you'll want to see what happens when the next test comes with missiles from the shore.